Hello guys, welcome to another session on answer writing program. So here we will look at a question, very simple question, quantitative and qualitative method, and then we will come to the solution also. So here, if you look at the question, this is what I want you to answer. So distinguish between quantitative and qualitative techniques, which is a very simple question of data collection with suitable examples from Indian society. So here is where you need to add the examples. So what you can do is give an introduction, define both, talk about the difference between both, then application in Indian society, and then conclusion. So I have differences and everything. I'll come to this, but before that, let me give you introduction and other parts, and then we will come back to this aspect. Okay. So here, if you want to write an introduction, what you will do, you can talk about the initial sociologist orientation and other things, right? So, and then you talk about research method in sociology that's classified into quantitative and qualitative techniques. If you start writing examples, there are so many which we have discussed in Durkheim, we discussed in Weber, so a lot of discussed in the different thinkers also. So the debate surrounding the use of these methods emerged with the foundational debate on the nature of sociology, whether sociology is science or not. So the quantitative methods aim for objectivity and numerical representation in terms of numbers, right? But the qualitative methods, if you see, they're trying to understand the underlying meanings and patterns of social behavior. So on one side, you talk about positivism, and the other side, you talk about subjective interpretation, which is non-positivism, where we use the qualitative techniques, right? Method of accounts and other things we have discussed before. So, but both are essential for comprehensively understanding the social phenomena. Now let's talk about quantitative, qualitative, and you give examples from what we have discussed. Look at the PDF, look at the lecture, look at the actual classes, add all those into your answer, okay? So quantitative method, when you talk about the quantitative research, employ a systematic and scientific investigation of measurable properties, right? The quantifiable data of a phenomena to develop the generalized theories. So you are looking for objectivity because you need to apply it universally. And it relies on data represented in terms of numbers. And that uses techniques like surveys, questionnaires, statistical analysis. You can talk about Durkheim's study of suicide as a classical exhibition of the use of statistical techniques or the quantitative method in sociology. And then qualitative research. They focus on understanding the human behavior, experiences, meanings, emotions, motives, the social phenomena through observation and interpretation. So it generates descriptive textual data and use methods like interviews, observation, content analysis, etc. So again, we have covered all these methods in detail in the chapter of research methods. Now, if you look at the difference, I'll come to the difference and then we can look at the application in Indian society. So I'll share the screen so that it will be very easy for you because you already know these differences. So these are the dimension I'm taking, the various aspects, and then quantitative, qualitative. Okay. So if you look at the nature of data, quantitative, it is numerical, statistical data. Qualitative, it's textual, descriptive data. Guys, these are self-explanatory, so I'll go through this faster. And then if you look at the purpose, that basically to test hypotheses and establish cause and effect relation in quantitative. On the other side, to explore the meanings, experiences, and patterns. Coming to methodology, it's the inductive method which is used in quantitative, and deductive method which are flexible in qualitative. So there is a mistake here. And then if you look at the techniques used, surveys, experiments, structured interviews in quantitative, and unstructured interviews, participant observation, right, in qualitative. If you look at the scope is broad, focusing on generalization. And the data collected is also large, right? But here, qualitative scope is narrow. You are trying to understand the behavior and emphasizing on depth of understanding also. Scale, large scale, there's a small scale. Large scale means interview, questionnaire, and all those things. You can even take the sample size of a huge population, but that's not possible when it comes to qualitative, right? Because you are generating the textual, subjective understanding. Measurement, if you see, objective measurement using scales in terms of numbers. The other side, subjective understanding of a phenomenon. Examples, if you talk about studying literacy rates, income levels, crime rates, poverty, all these are quantitative. And when we talk about, understanding the cultural practices, the social norms, beliefs, all these comes under qualitative. Now, if you look at the strength, the advantages, replicable and generalizable, and statistically more good, actually more reliable, right? Valid also, and universally applicable. Quantitative. Qualitative, it's again based on context and deeper insight you will get into the complex issues. Now, limitations, if you see, one, ignore the subjective interpretation. The other, lack of generalizability, time consuming, a lot of effort, resources, and all those things. So these are differences, which is very simple, and all of us know this. So guys, now let's focus on the applicability. That is actually what asked in the question. For example, caste system. Now, when you talk about quantitative, to study the impact of reservation policies, census data and survey provide the valuable numerical insight. So you can talk about the quantitative aspect. Qualitative, to understand the evolving meaning of caste identities in urban areas that require interviews, ethnographic studies. Okay, now coming to marriage. Quantitative, if you take the divorce rates, intercaste marriage, or the percentage of intercaste marriages, etc., can be analyzed using the statistical data. Qualitative, to explore the changes in marital values and norms, what all things are happening, which is subjective, especially among the youth, right? That requires in-depth interviews, participant observation, etc. Education. Quantitative, if you see, literacy rates, enrollment statistics, the gender gaps are studied through structured surveys. We need data. Qualitative, understanding the dropout rates and the reasons in rural schools, that involve understanding the cultural and familial attitude through field work. That is qualitative. Then coming to migration, urbanization aspect. Again, quantitative, if you see, census data on rural urban migration, that actually help to quantify the trend. Qualitative, the lived experiences of the migrant workers, their challenges, and the coping strategies that are best captured through case studies and interviews. That's qualitative. Coming to gender and work. So you can keep on adding the different fields in sociology here and talk about quantitative, qualitative application. Gender and work. Workforce participation rate of women are calculated through surveys. Quantitative or qualitative. Feminist researchers, if you see, they study workplace discrimination and challenges faced by women through focus groups and interviews. Focus group discussion, in fact, that's actually asked as a separate question also. So what I need to tell you so we have answered the question. We discussed what is quantitative, what is qualitative. We gave the difference, and we are not talking about superiority or inferiority of anything. And we discussed the application in different sociological context, right? Now we need to conclude. So you can say quantitative, qualitative methods offer distinct, types of understanding, but these are complementary because you'll be getting complete understanding when you combine both. So the purpose of the research is more important, based on which you will select the methods. Post 1940s, that's what you see. There is no distinction between positivism and non-positivism, or quantitative, qualitative, or subjective or objective. You combine everything based on the requirement. So the quantitative method emphasizes the measurement and generalization, but qualitative methods go deeper into subjective realities and cultural context, which is again more important in sociology. So together, they provide a holistic understanding of a social phenomena, as seen in the case of examples which I have given for study of Indian society. If you need to study caste, you need to see both. Marriage, you need to see both. Gender and work, you need to see both dimensions. Urbanization, you need to see both. You can use both the dimensions. So the integration of both these approach or the methods through triangulation discussed by Weber, you need to add all these towards the end. Okay, that ensure a balanced and comprehensive sociological analysis. So it's about the purpose of the research. It's not about methodological purity. So sociologists must tailor their methodology to research question to maximize the insights and applicability, to reduce the bias, and to try to ensure maximum objectivity, like that. Okay. So guys, that's about the session. I hope you liked it. If you like the video, share it with your friends also. And if you're looking for any sociology test series or mentorship program or the course, check out the details in the description and get in touch with us. So see you guys. Thank you so much.